Welcome back. It's great to have you with us on The Full View. The Nelson Mandela Foundation says it will ask the court to declare that lobby group AfriForum's deputy chief Ernst Roets is in contempt. Roets tweeted a picture of the old South African flag on Wednesday asking, "Did I just commit hate speech?" This was just hours after a scathing judgment about that flag. To remind you, and this is why we can show you the tweet, a gratuitous display of the apartheid flag amounts to hate speech even inside homes and schools, the Equality Court said this week. But a genuine journalistic, academic or artistic display in the public interest would not be hate speech because these are not gratuitous, the court found. Johannesburg High Court Deputy Judge President Phineas Mojapelo also set judicial precedent this week when he interpreted the Equality Act to mean that hate speech is not limited to words. Gestures such as waving a flag could also amount to hate speech. The case was taken to court by the Nelson Mandela Foundation Trust and the Human Rights Commission after reports that the apartheid flag was waved at a Black Monday demonstration in 2017 against farm murders. On the other side was, of course, AfriForum. After a backlash on Twitter, Roets has argued that he was asking an academic question. Meanwhile, the judgment around the flag has intensified calls for the removal of verses of "destem" in the National Anthem. Yesterday in Parliament, President Cyril Ramaphosa responded to a question about its inclusion. He thought we should not reject that which unites us. He said EFF leader Julius Malema rose to his feet and said, "Destem gaan uit." Well, veteran journalist, author and publisher of Vrye Weekblad, Max du Preez, has also argued for destem's removal. He joins us from our studio in Sea Point in Cape Town now. Thank you very much, Mr. du Preez. So do you agree with the EFF that the flag and the national anthem are two sides of the same coin?
Yes, I think we should say the EFF agrees with me. I've been arguing this since 1997. I have no problem. I totally agree with the decision that the waving of the flag amounts to hate speech. And I don't think we've taken anybody's freedom away. What we've taken the freedom away of people to express their disgust at our democracy, to insult people. That's not a freedom that we should cherish. When it gets to the national anthem, I from the start said this idea that we should use verses from destem in our national anthem to acknowledge other language group or minorities was completely misplaced. Because what we are doing is we're saying, okay, here we are, we have the nation. And then we have people who are, we know support apartheid. So let's take their symbol and put it in the national anthem. And I think, I find that offensive. I've never, ever sung the national anthem with those verses in it. And my proposal is simply, and I think the EFF seems to agree with this, I've been arguing for a long time, why don't we, if we want to give acknowledgement to minority language groups, why don't we take two verses of the same melody of Nkosi Sikelel' Afrika and do one in Afrikaans and do one in English. Retain the same melody and you have one national anthem, but you acknowledge minority groups. I can't see why anybody would be upset by that, but a lot of people are upset. Francis, the idea of a national anthem is to unite people, to inspire people for, to create national pride. Well, we already know that Kusatu doesn't sing the stem part. The Communist Party doesn't sing this. The EFF doesn't sing the parts from the stem. So we're failing in the idea of uniting the nation. Yeah. If we took that out and we just replaced it with phrases in Afrikaans and English, we will unite again.
So the president himself said this was about unity, that compromises were reached, but that was about the nation we wanted to achieve. Just argue some more, because let me ask your response to the other claims that sometimes people were honored for good service in the old South Africa under that flag. You can't wipe out history. Destem was part of the idea of a rainbow nation that included Afrikaners.
Yeah, we're not destroying history. The flag will always be there. You can go and see it in museums. if you're so inclined, you can keep it in your own cupboard and look at it every morning when you get up. It's not banned. It is discouraged from waving it in public in other people's faces because you advertise that you despise the new democracy. And in terms of the national anthem, I think the president has it wrong. I don't want to be associated perpetually by an apartheid symbol. And I don't want my children and my grandchildren to say, well, I am in the national anthem too as a minority group. Here is the apartheid symbol, destem. The idea was good, the execution was terrible.
Let's take a look at what you wrote today, that you say the ANC has resisted removing destem because of a fear of a backlash from white people. Do you really think there will be a backlash? I know many who agree with you. And is that top of mind for the ANC?
Yeah, well, when I first proposed this, there was a serious backlash, and I was called all kinds of names and threatened and stuff. I think people have come around to a new idea because we're moving along as we get more mature as a democracy. So I'm not sure. If we are saying we will retain the recognition of Afrikaans and English in our national anthem, I don't think there will be so much of a backlash. The ANC needs to think a little bit harder and consult a little bit wider. I said in a piece published today, it would be very appropriate for the Democratic Alliance to propose this new change because they are the party that represents the minorities more than anybody else. It would be so good if it came from them. It would even be more wonderful if it came from an Afrikaner organization like Volksfront Plus or even AfriForum. Yeah. Because now we're talking real reconciliation here. People find destem offensive. I find it offensive. I'm a white Afrikaner male. I find it deeply offensive. Why don't we take it out and convince people, bring people along?
Final question for you. Your opinion, I guess. Do you buy the argument of Ernst Roets from the AfriForum when he said that he was just asking an academic question when he posted the flag and said, did I just commit hate speech?
No, that's nonsense. He was being provocative, he was attention-seeking, and perhaps showing his real feelings, despite what he said earlier, that we don't encourage people to do, we don't like the flag. He clearly likes this flag, and that tweet was a fat middle finger to the rest of us.
All right, thank you for your time this evening, a veteran journalist and publisher of Die Vrye Weekblad, Max du Preez.